Hello everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to Rail. So today we're going to go back and review the Lionel custom run Conrail SD45 that was made for Brady's trains. So how well did they hold up 2 years later? Because I bought those September of 2022. I wanted to put this video out in September 2024, but I'm falling behind a couple weeks late, so I'm actually into October. But yeah, I'm sure you guys understand. But this is a 2-year review. So why am I focusing on the Brady's trains SD45 locomotives? I'm sure you guys are wondering why these particular units out of everything that I own. Well, for those who don't know, I'm actually a operator slash collector, meaning that I'm somebody who likes to collect certain things, certain trains, and I'll run them once in a while. I like to run my collection, so most of the time I'm just running a little bit here and a little bit there. The oldest locomotive, well, this was built in 2015. So I bought my Lionel Legacy Conrail GP30 in 2015, and I bet you if it had a hour meter in it, it probably wouldn't have. I would be surprised if it had more than 10 hours on it, because that's how often I run my trains. I don't run them that often, so that's why I'm focusing on the Lionel Conrail SD45s, because I sort of implemented a show tour, or a Dakman show tour. So these particular locomotives, wherever I get invited to run, they come with me because they have Bluetooth, and it's easier just to bring my phone, because the last thing I want to do is bring my Lionel 990 remote anywhere, because if something happens to it, I don't want to pay $2,000 just to replace the remote. So those locomotives I bought, again, 2022. And then they went on the Dakman show tour starting off in 2023. And so they went through, they ended up going through a torture test, that's for sure. Because, you know, sometimes most hobby shops will tell you the longest that you should run Lionel Legacy locomotives is 45 minutes to an hour. Give them a break and put something else on. And that's how it usually goes with scheduling at the clubs. They'll put somebody on every hour. So a guy runs this hour, gives his locomotive a break. The next guy goes on, or girl, or whoever. The next person, I should say, sorry. So the next person that comes on will run also an hour, and so forth and so on. But there has been plenty of times where Matt will come up to me and he says, "Sean, there's nobody else behind you. Just keep running." I'm like, "Are you sure, Matt?" He goes, "Yeah, just keep going." And so, you know, sometimes I ran up to an hour and a half. So I'll never forget the DC area independent high railers had invited me out to the model railroading days in 2023. There wasn't a lot of guys that brought their stuff to run, so I was the first one up. They put me up first, and so my hour went by, and Doug, who runs it, he says, "Sean, just keep running. He goes, "I'm not running my trains yet. Just keep going." I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "If you want, you can." He says, "If you want to take them off, take them off. But if you want to keep going, just keep going." So I did. Well, we lost track of time. And we're talking to each other, having fun at the show. Finally, Daryl comes up to me. He says, "Hey, Dakman." I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" He says, "Do you realize that your trains have been running for 3 hours?" And, you know, all of us just suddenly, you know, had the panic in our eyes. And we're like, Doug's like, "Oh my God, yeah, we got to take those things off." You know, we're like, you know, we're only supposed to run these things up to an hour and then change them out. We didn't realize it was 3 hours later. So we all went over there to my locomotives, and I took them off, and I was like, wow, it's pretty cool. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, there's no heat to this thing at all. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. So each one of them, I let each one of them handle the locomotives. And especially the powered one, they're like, yeah, it's really cool to the touch. This thing's ran for 3 hours. It's still cool. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I run it. I don't run it a million miles an hour. Nice slow pace. I think that day I was only pulling 15 cars. So I didn't really put a load on it. But I didn't worry about it. I just kept going. So, yeah, I put these things through the torture test. And I wanted to give you guys feedback after 2 years. How well did they hold up? Did they hold up? Did I have any problems? So, what I'm going to do is I'll talk about it near the end of the video. The first thing I'm going to do is kick off going through Brady's trains and showing you, from the beginning of me buying them, visiting the store, giving them a little review, and where they got to run at. And then at the end of the video, I will tell you how well they held up. Hello everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to Brady's train outlet right here. So, what brings me out today to Brady's train outlet, which is 5 hours away from South Jersey, by the way? Well, a couple of fans of the Dakman Productions channel told me that Brady's made a special run of the Lionel Conrail SD45 locomotives. So I drove all the way out here just to check that out and maybe check the store out too. We'll go inside now. Before we head on in, here's Brady's Trains outlet. You can see a better video of it right here. So yes, we are here in person. What is the main reason for my visit besides doing a store tour? Well, there were a couple fans who told me, messaged me, asking me if I knew that Brady's made a custom run Conrail SD45 with Lionel. And I said, no, I didn't. And here it is. Custom run with Superbase. And I didn't want to miss out on this. I think he said there's only 40 of those sets that were made. Okay, as you can see, both boxes say Brady's Trains exclusive Conrail. This one's the Superbase, and this one's the Legacy powered unit. So, according to Mr. Brady, he only had 40 sets made. Another interesting thing is I met fans of the channel while I was at the store. One of them was a Conrail guy. He seen what I was buying. I told him why, and he actually bought a set too. Alright, so I had a good time at Brady's train outlet here in Pennsylvania. And so I'm going to head home. And we'll do a review of those Conrail SD45 custom run sets that are custom run for Brady's. We're going to be looking at the Brady's custom run Lionel Conrail SD45 set. Alright, so the first locomotive we got out of the box is the powered unit, which is Conrail number 6067. It's an EMD SD45. Once again, this is a custom run to Brady's only. You cannot buy this anywhere else except for Brady's. And they are sold as a 2 locomotive set. You cannot get them single, which really didn't bother me any. I wanted the whole entire set anyway. So one of the things that makes the EMD SD45 unique is that it was the first locomotive ever to receive the 20-cylinder engine. Previous models had 16-cylinder diesel engines. The reason for the 20-cylinder upgrade from EMD was to basically replace 2 locomotives with 1 with horsepower, which in theory would have worked out pretty well. The 20-cylinder engine was an EMD model 645 E3, generating 3,600 horsepower. However, the SD45 reliability was not as high as anticipated. Although the EMD prime mover 20-645 E3 had 600 horsepower more than its 16-645 E3, which was in the SD40, there were some, well, let's just say problems. The biggest problem that the EMD 20-645 E3 had was it had flexing of the engine block, which allowed the crankshaft to actually break in half, rendering the prime mover, well, let's just say hurt. Diesel mechanics nightmare. It is not easy to replace a crankshaft in anything. There were many railroads that actually took the 20-cylinder engine out and put the 16-645 E3 in place of it. There were a couple railroads that actually kept crankshafts in stock. EMD later tried to strengthen the engine block to help that situation. Conrail number 6067 actually really was an EMD SD45. It actually started life as a Erie Lackawanna number 3602. Alright, so let's check out some features. So let's check out some horns. So I have Brady's train custom run Lionel Conrail number 6068 SD45 Superbase on the track, and this is my very first Superbase, and I am so excited. I was already playing with it before the video, and this thing sounds good. Normally I don't buy dummy units. I like to buy powered, but after hearing this for the very first time and the features, and it does have lights and it does have smoke in the Superbase, so it does have a lot of features and details, and it's every bit as detailed as the the powered unit. So I'm really impressed. So when I went to research Conrail number 6068, it was a very confusing research, I have to tell you. So when I first researched it on Google, 6068 kept coming up as a GE C48W. Well, I know that there's no way that Brady's would have done the wrong road number. So I went to my go-to research site, which is the Conrail Historical Society. So when I went to the Conrail Historical Society website, which is my go-to website when things are not making sense, I found out that Conrail had 2 different locomotives with the number of 6068, an SD45 and a GE C40-8. So the Conrail SD45 6068 was also a ex-Erie Lackawanna, and it was road number 3603. Later, 6068 was also applied to a GE C40-8 and became Norfolk Southern number 8324 during the Conrail split between CSX and Norfolk Southern. So what happened to the SD45 number 6068? Well, they ended up on the deadlines at Rutherford, along with a U30B and at least one SDP45 that was an ex Erie Lackawanna unit. In 1985, they were scrapped. The Lionel custom run Brady's trains Conrail SD45 locomotives went on tour, starting off with the Greenberg Train Show March 2023. And the Raritan Valley High Railers had invited me out to run. I'd like to thank Matt for that. And these were real easy to bring and run because they were Bluetooth. I could just simply run them off my phone. And it was great to put these locomotives on tour. So let's take a look. The Brady's trains custom run Lionel Conrail SD45 locomotives made a return to the Greenberg Train Show in 2023 during the November Thanksgiving show. Only this time, two dummy units were added to this train. Now keep in mind, there's only one powered unit, and this is pretty impressive of what the Lionel locomotives are capable of doing. Later in 2023, I was invited by the DC Independent High Railers to run with them at the Model Railroading Days hosted by the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania in Strasburg. And once again, the Lionel Custom Run Brady's trains, Conrail SD45 locomotives made an appearance. Alright, so we're getting ready to start the day of the Model Railroading Days here at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania. Kicking it off with two Conrail SD45s, which are the special custom run Brady's trains outlet locomotives. And so once again, appreciate the DC area independent high railers allowing me to run with them today, Saturday, for this great event.
Dispatcher,
The Lionel Custom Run SD45 Conrail locomotives would then make an appearance at the 2023 Run for Fun event. This event was hosted by the North Penn O-Gaugers, Hennings Trains, and Harry Henning III. The Run for Fun is actually an event that's hosted and where you get to run on the old train form. It's a great event. In 2024, the Lionel Brady's trains locomotives made a return to the train show tour, as I call it. They're now my tour locomotives. And here they are. They're running on the Raritan Valley High Railers during the 2024 Greenberg Train Show in March. The Brady's Trains Conrail Custom Run SD45 locomotives also made a return to the 2024 Model Railroading Days at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania. And I was invited by the DC Independent High Railers to run with them during this Model Railroading Days. And I thank Doug for the invitation. So I'd like to thank the DC Independent High Railers for inviting me out to Model Railroading Days at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, running here in front of this Conrail GP30 number 2233. What a great day. The Brady's Trains Custom Run Lionel SD45 locomotives make a special long trip all the way out to Long Island, New York, to run on the Central Operating Lines Club. I was invited by Joe and appreciate the invitation to check the club out and to run these locomotives there. Then the custom run Brady's trains Conrail SD45s head out to the 2024 TCA convention. And it just so happened to be the 70th anniversary of the event. Okay, so we're back, and I promised a review. How well did they hold up? Is there anything wrong? Did anything go wrong? Were there anything that you have to comment on? And I know that's important to people. They want to know how well the product holds up, and I can do that for you guys. Well, I gotta say, overall, my experience with them using Bluetooth, especially, I would say I give them 2 thumbs up. I give them 5 stars because, like I said, they've been through torture. I ran them more than the recommended amount of time at one time, and they held up really well. They still have the original traction tires on them. On the average, I've run them anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours up to 3 hours per show. So those locomotives have way more hours on them than anything I have down here. I like the Bluetooth feature. It hooks up every time. I never lost signal one time. And so they've been really, really reliable. Now you'll notice I don't run the smoke units. To be fair, I just don't. There's a big reason why I don't. Now you guys know I'm honest and upfront with you. I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not that way. I'm going to give you my thoughts, and it doesn't matter how a manufacturer takes it or don't take it. They can take it with a grain of salt, or they can get upset. But I'll still speak my mind. And that's it. So the reason why I don't run Lionel smoke units is because, and the diesels, because they're too delicate. That's the #1 reason. Between the fan units and stuff like that, the bouncing around where you got to carry them, I absolutely will not. You will never see me run smoke units in any of my diesel locomotives ever, because of how delicate they are, temperamental they can be. The biggest flaw that I've found or experienced with the Lionel smoke units, I mean, they might as well, in my opinion, they might as well take them out because I'll never use them. But the biggest flaw for me was the GP30 and the GP35 that Lionel had made. So the problem with those 2 locomotives is that where the smoke unit is at, there's a tube that comes down on an angle from where you got to fill it. And the problem is when that tube leaks, and it will, ask me how I know, it will actually drop fluid onto the board, because the board of all places is underneath of the fill port, underneath of the stack where you fill it to put the smoke unit or smoke fluid in. So that tube can leak, and when it does, it leaks fluid onto the board. I know people are going to say, oh, you must have overfilled it. Nope. The tube leaked onto the board. And I actually had to have my original GP30 replaced because of that. Because the smoke fluid tube leaked fluid onto the board and shorted out. Because my GP30 that I originally had was road number 2178. And they didn't have any more, so they replaced it with 2180. That was a long time ago. So from that point forward, I never ran any more smoke units on any of my Lionel diesel locomotives. And so that's my experience with that part of it. So that's why I don't run smoke units. And like I said, as far as the boards themselves and the running time, the torture test that they've been through, they ran flawless. Even after 3 hours of runtime, it was still responsive to the Bluetooth controls and all that fun stuff. So what other feedback do I have that I can provide? Well, as you guys know, you're constantly, when you go to a show or a club or whatever have you, you got to pack them up, unpack them. So you're constantly handling the locomotives. Where here at a home layout, you put it on and you leave it alone, and that's it. And you have a tendency to, not touch it again, unless it's rails. But other than that, you leave it on the layout. So what I'm getting at is there could be parts that could be fragile that you could accidentally break off. And is there anything like that on the Lionel locomotives? So at this point in time, the only thing that I have done by handling them all the time, and I blame myself because I'm not paying attention, or I put them in a bubble wrap and bubble wrap them best I can. But on each locomotive, they did break the sun visor over the window on each one, and that's it. So that seems to be the most fragile part of the Lionel Legacy SD45, are the sun visors over the cab. I do have the sun visors, and I did not glue them back on because I figured, as long as they're going on as long as they're on the show tour, I'm not going to put them back on because they are on the fragile side. Other than that, I didn't break anything else. I mean, they've been handled. They go for a ride in the car, and everything else seems to hold up really well. Now there is one other thing I do want to mention. Some weird thing is going on with the Superbase. So at first I thought maybe there was a bad board in it, because what's happening is when I bring them home to try and MU them, or actually that's DCC talk, but when I try to lash them together as a train, the Superbase is not responsive at all, and it's supposed to be. And I tried 2 or 3 times to lash together. I unlashed them, lashed them together, and there's no response from the Superbase unit. So I'm like, wow, maybe he's got a bad board. And I thought, well, let me test it a different way. So let me see if I can hook up to the Superbase directly. And I was able to do that through my 990 remote. I was able to connect to it. I had full control of it. I had control of the lights. So that part of it's good. So it probably just needs a factory reset, which I could do with my remote. You can do your own reset, and then try and lash it up in the train again. So that's just something weird that's happened. Because with Bluetooth you can't lash up with Bluetooth anyway, but you can with the 990. So that's why I'm not too worried about it, because when I run Bluetooth out there, the Superbase unit is basically just there for looks and lights and sounds. It's not really doing anything. It's not revving the motor up or down or making any other sounds. So it's just pretty much for looks. So I'll probably, I'm not worried about doing a reset right now, because they're still on a show tour. So I'm pretty satisfied. There's nothing wrong with the boards, because again, I was able to hook up directly to that locomotive with my 990 remote. And for those who don't know, yes, the Superbase still has legacy features in it. It still has the locomotive sounds. It's got the lights. It's got everything that a full legacy would have, except for the motors. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you guys have a nice Conrail day, and we'll catch you at the next train event. Catch you trackside. Goodbye.